danger. Butler.
Get around him! Get around him!
Edge of the seat.
All right, grand final. I think this is probably the most important part of it all. And we obviously won't speak until after we'll speak, but like, you get it. So this time next week, we'll be reviewing the grand final. Brisbane, Collingwood, at the G, 2:00, normal people time. I don't care. You can give me the look all you want. I don't give a fuck. It says 2:30 on the poster, but I know it's 2:00 my time.
The poster is what matters.
The TV guide says 2. Actually, no. Channel 7 said 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah, because they do the full fucking the pre-game. Yeah.
Does anyone actually get up for the breakfast into game day anymore?
I don't get up for it, but I like as soon as I wake up on grand final day, it's TV on, it's straight onto Channel 7. Like that is what I'm doing. Like I don't get up deliberately to watch the whole broadcast, but once I am awake, I'm like, right, time to go. And I just turn on the TV and I'm like, let's watch.
All right, that's good.
Also, before we get into the game, because it kind of counts as part of the tips too, 27 degrees in Melbourne on Saturday.
You
know what that is?
Beers.
Beer drinking weather.
Yeah.
That is beer drinking weather. There is going to be some severely drunk people at the MCG on Saturday.
We won't do an extensive review. I think this game will be previewed and reviewed enough. Just a quick thought. What's making the difference in this game? And then your tip.
Yeah, okay. So, I think people are already writing off the Lions. And I don't think you should do that. People have a lot of like things about like records at the G and stuff like that, and people are like, if you can't win at the G during the season, like you won't win there in the grand final, blah blah blah. But more often than not, teams are able to overcome that kind of shit on grand final day because the atmosphere and the vibe and the day of grand final day throws off everybody and pretty much puts them on an even playing field. Like if you're having to travel in a home and away game, it advantages the home team because they keep in their routine and they know what's going on. When it comes to grand final day, all routines, all everything goes completely out the window. You have to do your parade the day before, you wake up the day of, and you're like, you can't warm up in your usual spots because there's media and there's fans everywhere and stuff like that. It really fucks with people. So I think it kind of eliminates the whole former record at a ground kind of thing. Not eliminates it entirely, but minimizes a little bit and kind of levels it out, in this case, in the favour of the Lions. And the Lions have got the wood on Collingwood. No, that's good one. Over recent times. They've won the last 6. That was a good one. I was proud of that. I said it after I said it. I was like, how about that? In saying all of that, Collingwood are going to win.
Pies. How much?
They don't win big. They don't win by a lot ever. But grand finals are known to be very one-sided. I think it's going to be Pies by 15 points.
Tough, isn't it? Because that MCG factor, crowd factor, I think the weather being prime, 27 degrees, as you said, really factors in favour of Collingwood. And Brisbane, whilst having the wood, as you said, over Collingwood and not playing at the Gabba, I can see why everyone's writing them off. I don't want to write them off. I think this is going to be, we're going to finally get a close grand final. This is going to be the one where it's 2 or 3 goals max the whole day. And it's just, the energy's so high. It's intense. Collingwood haven't scored well this final series. They haven't scored over 70 points yet. Brisbane have scored pretty heavily in their 2 finals. I say that they've only scored 73, 79 or whatever on the weekend, but I genuinely do think their scoring power outmuscles Collingwood. It'll just come down to whether or not Collingwood's defense for me is the thought that I have that whether or not they'll win or lose this grand final. I'm tipping the Pies. I think their midfield's going to be just a bit too tough. Tipping them by 3 points.
Oh boy, that will be raptures. This game, like we were looking at the stats today. The Lions at the MCG in the last 2 years have had 103 points kicked against them on average every game. That's a lot. It's a lot. That's that in a grand final. 103 points at the MCG is more than enough to beat you. Grand finals are usually pretty low scoring. 103 points will be enough if Collingwood can get there. This is a genuine race to 100. If you can get to 100 first, you should win the game.
That's
Um,
where McStay being out hurts the Pies. And we mentioned Mason Cox. He hasn't kicked bags of goals. And like Cameron doesn't kick big goals. They're going to have to get a lot from their smalls. Like Hill's going to have to stand up. Mychek's going to kick 3 or 4. They're going to have to kick goals from the midfield as well. Like this is a genuine, like you said, race to 100. And if it's a race to 100, Brisbane are winning this game.
Yep.
That's my personal opinion. If Collingwood want to win, they've got to keep it under 75
that's fair.
and
Norm
hope for
Smith
rain.
prediction. Yeah, Norm Smith prediction. I think the goalie's going to win it.
Ooh, Norm Smith. Didn't really think of that one. Not on the
Yeah,
run
I know.
sheet.
I was like,
Well played.
I caught you off. Yeah, I caught you off guard, but I was like, we should probably include a Norm
We
Smith
should
pick.
do
I'm
it.
going to go to goalie.
I think it's such a close game, but nobody the winners always get the Norm Smith besides Lenny Hayes that year. Darcy Moore. Wasn't
I
that a
was going to
very
say
good? Hasn't that a
defenders seem to
very
do it a
good?
little bit here and there.
Yeah, Brian Lake.
Brian Lake, that was exactly what I was thinking of. Brian Lake just then.
Hasn't that a
He's one
good
of,
final series, I think, Darcy. Was very good against the D's early, but
yeah.
then faded late. And then the same on the weekend. I think Murphy held his own a bit more. I think captain Darcy Moore versus Harris Andrews.
It's gonna be
Big
good.
key
That's gonna be
defenders as captains.
that's a good. It's cool. Yeah, it's hot.
Pies by 15, Pies by 3. DeGoey and Moore. I do not want to write off Brisbane in this. I really,
No.
really don't. I'm almost tempted to tip them as well because I think Fagan as well was the oldest coach to coach a team to a grand final. 62 years
Yeah, I saw
old.
that stat. Yeah.
So if that's the case and he gets them across the line, I think it's going to be one of the more celebrated premierships. If they
It'll be a
win.
really good story. Like a really good story. You have you have Lockie Neal winning it after all that time. Josh Dunkley moved to Brisbane to win a flag.
How many
Like you
times do we
have a lot
see
of
that as well?
yeah, you have a lot of stories where like players move to a different team to win a flag. And like Adam Treloar, his best friend, is a perfect example of that. He went to Collingwood over Richmond thinking they were going to win a flag. And then Richmond went bang, 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 and Collingwood lost in between those.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of horror stories when it comes to that kind of stuff. Having Dunkley win it would be a pretty cool thing to see because he did it for that reason and he could do it.
Yeah. Just makes you look forward to seeing what can happen on the weekend. And 62 years is pretty good. That's our little preview of this week. It's going to be fun. It's grand final
Absolutely.
week.
Grand final week's
So,
always the best. Might have to
Yeah.
I might have to roll into Fed Square one day this week, and it's always fun like grand final week. They always got cool shit going on, so I might roll into the city, and if I find a spare second of my life to roll into the city and do anything, then we'll see. But yeah, grand final week is a lot of fun, and grand final day itself is it's like Christmas. Like you get that Christmas vibe when you wake up. Like you wake up in the morning, it's usually sunny. You're like, it's fucking grand final day, and you're like all excited. You're out of bed early. Like it's a cool day.